He just wanted to take care of youth. He loved youth. I've never seen anybody relate to youth like Charlie, and they related to him.
President Trump sounding off on the impact Charlie Kirk had on the youth vote. The LA Times says, quote, Charlie Kirk gave young men something to believe in. Now Governor Newsom wants to do the same. The California governor has been praising Charlie's movement, and he thinks his party, the Democrats, could learn something from Charlie Kirk. What are your thoughts about this, Jesse? I mean, is it wrong for I think it's kind of a saying that Charlie was right, and maybe Democrats got to try to do some of this.
No, Newsom's correct in that men are lonely, they're addicted to screens, and they're looking for meaning in their life. But where has this guy been? He's been a politician for 40 years. He's never said a thing about it, never done anything about it. And California and the Democratic Party have waged a war on men. They imported all these third world workers. They sent all the jobs to China. All the big tech companies got them addicted to screens and rewired their brains. They declared a war on police, a war on energy, and they called men toxic. So to now come around and say, I wonder what's wrong with young men. I mean, this guy's Monday morning quarterbacking here. I like that he's diagnosed the problem, but he has to do something about the problem if you're going to be a leader of the country.
Greg, is it not better late than never to come to the conclusion that
generally
Democrats
I
should speak
am.
out to men?
I'm always with better late than never. But Newsom treats life like a walk-in closet. He goes in there and he goes, what am I going to put on today that will get me attention? And it's always a put on. There never seems to be anything more than a political calculation. And here Gavin is hitching his wagon to Charlie, which seems kind of ghoulish to me. I think the Democrats are in a tough place. You have no strong voices on that side because you spent all of your energy and your muscle on being anti-Trump. You forgot that you needed ideas and policies and a moral position on things like trans and crime and the border. So they're like a kid whose entire diet was Twizzlers, and they show up at the gym and they realize their body is atrophied. Right now, there's only one Democrat who has a chance to save the party, and his name is Harold Ford. Harold Ford.
Your thoughts on this issue?
I think Greg is onto something.
Yeah.
You could do it,
I'm on
Harold.
something.
He's on, or that too. Listen, everybody wants to emulate someone else, but it's very hard to be that person. That person is unique. Charlie Kirk was unique because he found his voice. He found what resonated with young people. He was face to face with those young people, whether they believed in the same thing or not. He hit it head on. He literally, whatever someone wanted to say, he accepted it and then gave his opinion. Gavin Newsom, so far, he's just, in some secluded room with his podcast, looking for content every day. And now I think it's smart that he's kind of hitching his star to Charlie Kirk, but it's going to take more than just saying that.
I think you're right. I think it is smart. But so, Emily, what's the substance? If you were giving him advice, you're not giving Newsom advice, but I think the body politic could use both parties trying to reach out in serious, meaningful ways. What advice, or how would you do it if you were trying? You can't replace Charlie, but how would you try to continue what he's done?
Well, I would listen to everyone carrying forth the mantle that Charlie has inspired. And the reason I hesitated for a moment is because the talking points I had prepared were simply just attacking the governor, which I'm really good at.
You can still do that, but
and my point is that, look, to be honest, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is someone who was part of the erosion of the social fabric that has led to these millions of young men that feel suicidal and lost and isolated. And Charlie Kirk's empowerment and inspiration came from biblical values. It came from him looking at a young man in the eye and saying, it is more important and fulfilling for me to feel my daughter's arms around my leg than to fly on Air Force One. And this is a governor who participated in the vilification of pastors during COVID, just simply trying to spread the word and to make people not feel alone. This is a person who has enjoyed millions of dollars of donations from the online platforms that have contributed meaningfully and frankly devastatingly to the youth of America. So in my opinion, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In my opinion, him sort of coming forth and saying, hey, 10,000 mentors in, by the way, a state of 40 million people. So that's triage, not transformation. But for him to somehow think that he's owning a type of solution to what has been the total erosion of what these young men and women have needed for so long in Congress, in parents, in the home. This was a governor that said, I replace parents as a state. That come find me if your parents object to your physical transformation from genders under 18. I will take the place of your parents. And now he's deigning to think that he can step in as a parent. That's what these young men need. So I agree with you. He is trying on this shirt, the Charlie Kirk shirt, but it is such a false costume on him because we know his true colors. We have seen what he has done for the past years, and what the world needs is not one Gavin Newsom. It is a million Charlie Kirks empowered in these young men themselves.
I hear you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.